Turns out, much like the ever-growing quest into outer space, humanity has been going to great lengths and depths to uncover the many secrets that Mother Earth holds within. Science and technology reached new heights in the mid-1900s. An all-new competitive obsession took over most countries. With growing interest to conquer outer space, there was another silent agenda running parallel. The race to the center of the Earth had begun. Science class calling! Let's get down to the basics. Starting at the core, the Earth is composed of 4 layers, going down from the shallowest to the deepest. The layers are named as the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. Except for the crust, nobody has been able to venture any further into the layers of the Earth, courtesy of the blazing heat and instability of the different components of the Earth's makeup. Whatever we know by far are just mere theoretical assumptions. We do not know for sure how thick the mantle is, or what it looks like. The only sample we have of the mantle are the exposed rocks at Oman. The mountains in northeastern Oman used to lie in the Earth's interior, sandwiched between the crust and the mantle. When an ancient ocean narrowed and closed it, the enormous geological forces at work pushed the old sea floor skyward, making it what it is now. The mountains are eons old, and it's no surprise that they hold valuable information about the elements of our planet. Too much to dig? Let's simplify it real quick. Imagine the whole world as a tennis ball. The upper green fluff could be correlated to the topmost layer of the Earth's crust. In more than 8 decades of using heavy machinery and technology, we haven't been able to even break through the crust. With all that we've achieved, it is just the equivalent of giving the tennis ball a gentle prick. Heading back to some history, the whole obsession with reaching the Earth's mantle began in the 1960s, when American scientists put forth a project called the Project Mohole, in order of Andrija Mohorovich, who worked tirelessly on the barriers between the Earth's different layers. It was neck-and-neck competition between Russia and the US. The team in the US decided to start drilling in the ocean because the crust is significantly narrower at the seafloor. However, a thinner crust also meant that the ocean was at a deeper level. Project Mohole commenced from a boat near the island of Guadeloupe in Mexico. The team of researchers could drill only 600 feet below the ocean floor when the project was deemed as too cumbersome, and the government shut it down due to soaring costs. The team couldn't find anything scientifically rich to help them study the Earth's interior, but they sure did find $40 million worth of basalt. It wasn't a total fail after all. Years later, in the 1970s, the Russians entered the race. Though they had the same goal, they took a different approach. They didn't want to dig up the ocean floor. They chose Murmansk, a region near the Norwegian border, as the preferred site. What began as a Cold War tactic soon transposed into a 20-year-long scientific experiment. By the 90s, the Russians managed to drill a 40,230 feet deep hole. They stopped only because the temperatures got too hot to continue. It was impossible to drill any further. It is today what we know as the Kola Super Deep Borehole. What exactly happened while drilling the Kola Super Deep Borehole? Scientists wanted the hole to go as deep into the Earth's surface as possible. The expected depth was around 9 miles, but things didn't go according to plan. The scientists and engineers were compelled to give up when they hit the 7.5-mile mark. The rocks, which are billions of years old, were harboring temperatures of 356 degrees Fahrenheit. This was almost twice the temperature they had anticipated. The heat was sufficient to damage the drilling machinery, and the rocks appeared to be more like plastic than rock. At 40,230 feet deep, the project was abandoned for good. Just so you know, 40,230 feet deep is 7.5 miles. That's as long as 15 Burj Khalifas, or almost 2 Mount Everests tall. That's how far the Russians got, and the Kola super deep borehole is the deepest humanity has ever dug into the crust. Falling into a 40,000 feet hole sure sounds like a new fear unlocked, but don't worry. The borehole is only 9 inches in diameter. It has been welded shut since the 90s. Here's what some locals got to say that's gonna send chills down your spine. You can hear the howling sounds of hell wafting from it. Isn't that creepy? Did we just open the gates of hell ourselves? Are you thinking along the lines of all the souls in purgatory or maybe even trapped zombies? We'll leave that to your imagination. Moving on. If you thought this 40,000 feet deep hellhole would deter others from similar attempts, you got that all wrong. But Germany was next in line to start their spree. In 1990, German geologists kick-started the German Continental Deep Drilling Program. They managed to reach 30,000 feet under the surface when the temperatures unexpectedly rose to 509 degrees Fahrenheit, and large amounts of fluid and gas poured into the drill hole. After a fair share of contributing to seismic and tectonic research, the borehole today is down to being a tourist attraction, housing the largest derrick in the world at its site. Trotting right behind came in the Japanese. In 2002, Chikyu was launched. It was an offshore drilling ship that could carry 6 miles of pipes for the purpose of drilling. The ship was definitely far more advanced than the one used in the 60s by the US team. Chikyu could harness the power of GPS to change its position for precise drilling. Though it was launched in Japan, the project was funded by Europe, India, Korea, China, New Zealand, and Australia. For the Japanese, it was more personal. They wanted to drill deep enough to get to the core of their unending struggles with earthquakes. In September 2012, Chikyu obtained rock samples from 2,100 meters below the seabed, setting a new world record. It also currently holds the world record for drilling at a depth of 6,960 meters underwater. In 2019, after reaching 2 miles under the ocean floor, Chikyu dropped its mission to reach the spot where tectonic plates meet. These were some of the purposeful digs attempted by us humans, solely for discovering more about the Earth. But we have been digging the Earth's surface for different reasons, since time unknown. Be it open wells for fresh water, or for the final resting place of the dead. However, the industry that holds the most wealth also relies heavily on digging. We're talking oil and mining. The Deepwater Horizon is the biggest example of that. It was the deepest offshore rig in the world at 35,055 feet. But in 2010, the disaster that struck not only ruined the mining project, but also the Gulf of Mexico. The drilling was done to access the crude oil amounting to approximately 6 billion barrels. However, ill fate struck, and a disastrous explosion led to ceasing all operations for good. The end result was slated to be the largest oil spill in American history. A year later, in 2011, Russia took the spot for the world's longest man-made hole at 42,000 feet. So, did they surpass the depths of the Kola super borehole? Well, no. These guys didn't make it straight down. It certainly doesn't feature as the deepest, but it is the longest by far. The borehole was drilled by ExxonMobil to reach the oil reserves quantifying to approximately 2.3 billion barrels. And not for research. Why else would we dig? Think. Apart from ore-rich rocks, the Earth also houses solid carbon arranged in a crystal structure known to the world as diamonds. The Mirny Diamond Mine is a man-made deep wonder. The Diamond City was built on the Russian former leader Joseph Stalin's order and is 1,722 feet deep, with a radius of 2,050 feet. In fact, the downward airflow in the mine is so strong that it can pull helicopters down to its surface. So much for diamonds, huh? Scientific studies and mining aren't the only reasons to drill. In Cornwall, United Kingdom, Geothermal Engineering Limited began to dig 2 holes in 2018. By now, scientists around the world knew about the kind of heat closer to the mantle, so the company decided to harness the same heat from the rocks and use it as a source of energy. Smart, eh? In 2019, they had reached a depth of 19,000 feet and encountered temperatures of up to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. Quite the energy resource out there. Despite decades of drilling and digging, we are still scraping at the surface, literally. A successful foray into the mantle can unlock a hoard of information about our planet and how seismic activities occur. But till that happens, we just have to rely on the images from our middle school textbooks. Despite the failed or unfinished attempts, we do have more information now than we did in the 60s and 70s. So though we haven't dug further than 40,000 feet, it might happen in the near or far future. Who knows? What do you think about the deepest humanity has dug? Do you think it is a good idea at all? What's the deepest you've been to? Tell us in the comments section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and share it with a fellow geology enthusiast. Subscribe to our channel for more information-packed fun videos. And don't forget to ring the bell icon to never miss a video from us. Till then, don't take a dig yourself, guys.